My name is Philippe Nava, and I'm going to show you how to bleed the brakes on a UMC 750 body. First, you attach this hose assembly with Schrader valve to the valve in the machine housing. Make sure this handle is all the way to the left. Attach the Schrader valve, tighten it by hand. Tighten it with an 11/16 wrench, just till it's snug. And then take the hose that comes off the Schrader valve and stick it into a container of DTE 24 oil. We have the rotary brake booster hooked up to a compressed air solenoid, simulating the Haas control. This would be done with an M code in the machine normally, but it's just for simulation purposes here. Once this is all hooked up, open the Schrader valve by turning the handle all the way to the right. To start the bleeding process, cycle the brake booster back and forth using an M code in the control. You should see the oil level in the brake booster reservoir decreasing over time. I like to start with the oil at the top mark, and I like to bleed it down to the halfway level. You should see, when the system is filled with oil, you should see a squirt of oil come out of this hose into your container of DTE 24. If you watch, you will see a burst of oil come out. Are you focused on it?
Oh, I'm filming. Here, I see it.
That squirt indicates oil has entirely filled the machined housing and is now coming up through the Schrader valve. At this point, you can take this hose and stick it back into the brake booster reservoir so the oil is recirculating. At this, you should, if you look inside the reservoir, you should see air bubbles coming out every time the hose actuates, indicating that air is being worked out of the system. Usually this takes about 2 to 3 minutes to entirely work all the air out. Once the system has been cycled, top off the reservoir to the 3/4 mark with clean DTE 24 oil.
Talk about the booster now.
This brake booster uses the new square cylinder, which represents a significant improvement over the round style cylinder design, as the cylinder no longer gets stuck, causing brake booster alarms or rotary brake failure alarms. The square cylinder brake booster is available as a service kit option to retrofit old round style boosters, in addition to the new service kit to allow for the new bleeding procedure. The same bleeding procedure does apply to old brake boosters with the round cylinder as well. Once the system is cycled for 2 to 3 minutes and air no longer comes up in the reservoir, you can close the Schrader valve by turning the handle on top all the way to the left. To check that the system is building pressure, first remove the valve and hose assembly. Then install the second part of the service kit tool, the pressure gauge assembly. The pressure gauge installs in the same way as the hose. Make sure that this handle on the Schrader valve is all the way to the left. Tighten it up with the 11/16 wrench. To check for pressure, open the Schrader valve by turning the handle all the way clockwise. When the system is operating properly, you should see anywhere from 800 to 1000 psi reading on the gauge when the booster actuates. You can also check the pressure switch is working electrically by using a digital multimeter with a continuity test function and connecting it to the terminals on the pressure switch. The pressure switch should show 0 ohms when the booster is not activated and show infinity when the booster is activated. This completes the rotary bleeding procedure. To disconnect the valve, close that Schrader valve by turning the handle all the way to the left, loosening it with the 11/16 wrench, wipe up any residual oil that may have leaked out of the gauge. And make sure to put the protective cap on the Schrader valve when finished. This service kit here, T0062C, contains the bleeding hose, the valve and gauge assembly, as well as 3 different adapters to allow the Schrader valves to be installed in old UMC 750 and UMC 750SS models for field service uses.